is this?
Yeah, some Halloween candy and stuff.
Is that on these guys?
Trick or treat, I guess.
Yeah, all right.
All right, guys, we have Coach Borland and go ahead with any questions.
This OU team does a really good job of kind of spreading the love from receivers. How do you limit this team? Because they don't have a superstar receiver like years past.
Well, yeah, they're all pretty good. So, yeah, there's, you got to kind of know. Sometimes by down and distance, they tend to target a certain guy a little bit more than others. So I think we know those kind of things. But there's only, at the end of the day, there's only so much you're going to do, and we gotta, whatever calls that we're making, we gotta play them soundly and do a good job. So yeah, I think that's just kind of the nature of their offense, is to spread you out and utilize a lot of weapons and things. So got work cut out for us for sure.
How important was the bye week for your defensive line? I know there's been a lot of guys dealing with those various ailments. Just how did it help them to have that?
I think it was good. Got most of those guys, or all of those guys, back practicing regularly. So hopefully we're going into the game probably as pretty healthy as we've been in a number of weeks in that area. So it was helpful. But yeah, at the same time, they've been still getting some work, but we're able to, you're able to limit guys a little bit at various points, and so they're not getting overworked.
Where does Austin fit into that?
Yeah, well, he's full go. He was a little bit limited the last game that we played, and then but he ended up playing quite a bit and playing pretty well anyway. So I think he's close to 100% as he's probably been in quite a while. So we're just planning on him and Hayden Hatcher's been practicing again. So and Jeremy Robinson's been practicing full time again. So we're basically we've been the last 2 or 3 games with some limitations in that area in terms of those guys, but they all should be back and ready to go.
How much does a bye week help against a team that wants to push the pace, go up tempo? How much do you think that helps?
Well, we've had a lot of reps, had a lot of time to practice various things, and I think we've tried to be as innovative as you can be to simulate how that's going to go. So I think it's been good. I think our guys are really aware of that. That's something like last year when we played them, they did the same, and I don't know that we always probably got lined up as cleanly as we'd want to, and I think that's part of what they do. So you can watch them playing against other teams, and I think if they feel like you can't get lined up and they got you on the run, I don't think they care what they run. They're just going to snap the ball faster and you can line up. So, and then things are going to work. So our goal is obviously to get ourselves lined up and be ready to go. If we can kind of beat them to that, I think that's helpful for us and probably makes them slow down a little bit.
UCF was another team that went up tempo, or wanted to at least.
Yeah.
What did you guys do to slow them down where that wasn't really much of a factor in the first half at least?
Well, I think they helped us out because they still went fast, but they didn't go like lightning fast like they had or can. I think because they had some of their own issues that particular game. But these guys they look like they go fast all the time, as fast as you can possibly get it done. So I don't know, by the time one play ends and the next play gets snapped, it's under 15 seconds, so it's more like 10 seconds. And so I can't be up there thumb through my notes about making the perfect call. You got to make a good call right now is better than the perfect call 5 minutes from now. So we got to get calls out there and for the situation and get it communicated to our guys as fast as we can, and so that we give our guys a chance. I don't want them they're not being able to get lined up on the slowness of anything that comes into them. So I'm going to do my part, and hopefully they're going to do their part.
You said you shortened calls a couple weeks ago. Does that carry over? Does that make that easier to do this time around?
Yeah, we kind of got a unique situation this year because our defensive signaler is on the Oklahoma staff this year from the last 2 years. So we've changed all of our signals and we've shortened a bunch of them. So You know, if in a huddling situation, we might have some calls that might have 4 or 5 words to them. They've got 1 word and 1 signal. We just got to know what they are. So in the long run, that probably helps you because we've referenced calls enough times that they would know what it all means. And so we've shortened everything up, and quite honestly, we've changed most all of our signals. So.
Hey Brian, I was looking back and Gabriel led them in rushing against Texas. How do you prepare for that, and what challenge does he?
Yeah, you know, he's a really good scrambler, so I think some of he might have had a long draw, like a draw that he ran a long ways, or really long ways. Otherwise, you know, he's got good feel for the pocket. He got a good feel for where to step up and how to step up, and you know, he's avoided, you know, some guys that come pretty clean and rush sometimes. He's able to spin out and avoid some things. So, yeah, you know, it's probably more of that than just the design runs where he's going to keep it on a running play. Although, you know, there's a little bit of that as well. But yeah, we got to be sound in our rush lanes. We can't get unbalanced, and we know that. We got to kind of just keep lanes and kind of try to keep guys corralled. And obviously, there's certain calls where we can have a whatever you call them, a spy or whatever. There might be certain calls that we have that you can kind of add another layer to things if he does in fact step up. So you know, at the end of the day, again, you know, he's a good player, and sometimes you can do all the things that you want to do, and good players are still going to find a way to do, you know, make some things happen. So you know, once in a while you gotta live with that to a certain extent, but obviously we know we gotta really be sound in what we're trying to do versus him, because he's played a ton of football and he's a really good player. So he'll make you pay if you don't.
And what have you seen from their running game and their offensive line?
Yeah, I think their offensive line, they're good. They're athletic. They do a good job of what they ask them to do, and I think they've got a couple, you know, pretty decent running backs. And I don't you know, they might not have at this point all the star power that they, you know, names and things from the past, but they got all good players, and you're not going to look at them and say, man, well, they're just not very good in this area, or they're bad in this area, and this is where we're going to take advantage of them. I don't think they're like that. They're good across the board, and you know, we've got to win the line of scrimmage for sure, number one, and we've got to be able to tackle them in space for sure, because that's, you know, they're going to spread you out and they're going to get the ball out on the perimeter in numbers of ways, and if you can't get them on the ground, I mean, I think to Central Florida's credit, I mean, I think that's something they did really good last week was they were able to be disruptive. They were able to kind of get them off track a little bit, but when there was some space and tackles to be made, those tackles got made. And you know, we've been good in certain games on that stuff, and not as good as we need to be in others. So you know, we harp on it every day, and we work on it every day, and hopefully the results are going to show up on Saturday.
This goes with what you just said, but after the Oklahoma State game, Austin Booker had mentioned like the defense needing to improve against quick screens and other quick passes. How do you work on that?
Yeah, well, we work on them. We did a period today, and that's what we did. So, you know, yeah, and you know, sometimes the calls make you more or less successful versus screens, what you're doing, but you know, it's recognition with the defensive line of, you know, of somebody letting you get through. Got to feel in some of those areas, and you know, on the back end, you've got to be able to. Somebody's got to be able to set an edge and get the ball turned back into the rest of the defense, and you got to be able to avoid some people sometimes and be able to make tackles in space. You know, a 350-pound lineman running at me, I don't want to go take that guy on. I'm gonna make him miss. You know, and so you know, it's all those kind of things. And sometimes, you know, we've been good at it. There's been games like, man, our screen defense was really good. It was not that good against Oklahoma State. I don't know that anything was that good. So we certainly need to step it up on defense and give ourselves a better chance to win a game than probably we did, you know, certainly in that last game that we played.
Anything else, Coach Borland?
Coach, Oklahoma leads the league in yardage on play action passes, which means they're probably going to go a lot on early downs. Oklahoma State had success with that. What kind of challenges that present?
Well, yeah, it's knowing when they come, right? So it's for them, I think we know when they tend to throw those kind of passes, right? So you got to be, somewhat prepared in some of your calls, but and quite honestly, the running game and the play action pass game looks different. So, it's recognition at all levels, right? It's defensive line recognizing a pass set. It's linebackers, because obviously that's the nature of play action pass, is get you to step up and then you've got the intermediate and some of the deep throws. If you're not playing soundly on the back end, those things come open. So we've got to do a better job of recognition, but I think we also know, obviously, we've got some tendencies when they tend to throw those things. So hopefully we're in good shape when that happens, and again, hopefully we're not putting our guys in a situation where they can't be successful. So we've had a lot of time to practice. I feel like we've had adequate practice at all those kind of things, and now it's practice is one thing, game is another. So let's see how we do it during a game. But I got confidence, at least our guys are feeling prepared and ready for the challenges that we're going to face.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.